Most marriages don't end in betrayal, they end in silence. Two people still living together, yet miles apart. From the outside, everything looks perfect. The smiles, the family photos, the routine. But behind closed doors, something begins to die. Not love, attention. It starts small. She stops sharing her day. He stops noticing her. Comfort quietly turns into a cage. And one day she doesn't fall for another man. She falls for the feeling of being seen again. Not out of wickedness, but out of emotional hunger. The tragedy? Most men never see it coming. They're too distracted, too certain, too numb. This isn't a story about blame. It's a mirror for every man who dares to look closely. Because a Stoic man doesn't chase illusions. He studies human nature. He sees clearly. He protects his peace. Stoic Reflections, where truth replaces comfort. It always begins quietly. No explosions, no drama, just distance. A few unspoken words, a few forgotten glances, the small cracks that slowly widen until they become canyons. Most men don't notice the shift. They're busy believing stability means safety. But in the silence, something inside her begins to stir. It's not rebellion, it's not lust. It's the hunger for aliveness, the ache to feel something real again. She looks around at the life she built, the home, the husband, the rhythm that never changes. And she wonders when peace turned into paralysis. That's where it starts. The moment when routine begins to suffocate the spirit. The moment when comfort becomes a cage. 1. She's trapped in a cage of comfort, starving for thrill. From the outside, her life looks complete. A husband who provides, children who smile for photos, a home that hums with quiet order. But comfort has a shadow, boredom. The same dinners, the same words, the same tired gestures. Each day repeats like a looped melody she can no longer hear. And beneath the calm surface, something restless begins to move. At first, she hides it. She tells herself she should be grateful, that stability is love. But inside, she aches for pulse, for mystery, for the unknown, for the spark that once made her feel alive. Then she meets someone who radiates energy instead of routine. He doesn't seek her approval. He speaks with conviction. He looks straight through her mask, and for the first time in years, she remembers what it feels like to be seen. That moment changes everything. The safety she built now feels like a cage lined with gold. Every comfort becomes a reminder of what she lost: freedom, spontaneity, wonder. The Stoics warn that excess comfort breeds decay. When we stop challenging ourselves, we stop feeling alive. She isn't chasing chaos, she's chasing the pulse of life that comfort slowly suffocated. And most men never notice. They mistake her calm for contentment, her silence for peace. But a Stoic man sees the truth. Comfort without purpose always leads to hunger. 2. She's addicted to validation. She'll never admit it, but attention has become her quiet addiction. It's not the man she wants, it's the feeling he gives her. It begins subtly, a passing compliment, a lingering message, a glance that lingers a second too long. For a brief moment, she feels visible again, not as a mother, not as a wife, but as a woman. And that single moment becomes a drug, small, powerful, and dangerously satisfying. Modern life feeds it perfectly. Social media turns validation into a marketplace. Every like, every comment, every heart emoji, a tiny spark of recognition she no longer receives at home. It's not desire that drives her, it's proof that she still matters. When her husband stops noticing her perfume, her new dress, or the quiet effort behind her smile, she looks elsewhere. Not for love, but for reflection. She's not chasing lust, she's chasing identity. The Stoics taught that craving approval is surrendering power. What depends on others can always be taken away. When a woman builds her worth on reaction instead of virtue, she becomes enslaved to attention. Most men take this personally. The Stoic man doesn't. He sees the hunger beneath the behavior and understands that the only cure for external craving is internal strength. So he doesn't chase validation. He embodies presence, calm, steady, unshakable. Because true power never begs to be seen, it simply is. 3. She believes no one will suspect her. She wears invisibility like armor. Society sees her as safe, the loyal wife, the devoted mother, the woman too busy for temptation. That's her greatest cover. No one questions the woman with a wedding band and a grocery list. No one imagines that behind the soft smiles and school runs, she's quietly drifting elsewhere. Infidelity doesn't always wear red lipstick and heels. Sometimes it hides behind yoga pants and routine. She knows this. She understands how invisible her desires appear. So she takes risks with calm precision. Subtle messages, harmless banter, a just friends conversation that slowly grows into something more. The world still sees a devoted wife. She sees a secret life unfolding in silence. Society loves to believe men cheat for thrill and women cheat for love. But the truth is simpler. Both cheat for escape. From emptiness, from repetition, from themselves. The Stoic doesn't get lost in appearances. He reads energy, not words. He observes tone, not excuses. While others fall for smiles, he studies silence. Because to the awakened man, nothing hides for long. Truth always leaves a shadow, and he's trained to see it. 4. She's already said goodbye, emotionally. You don't always notice when someone leaves. Sometimes they're still there, sitting beside you, smiling in photos. But their heart has already walked away. That's how emotional distance begins. Not with shouting, not with betrayal, but with silence. The conversations grow shorter, the laughter fades, the warmth in her voice turns into polite tone. She still cooks dinner, still says goodnight, but her presence has become performance, routine without emotion. She's still there physically, but spiritually she's gone. Most men believe cheating starts in the bedroom. It doesn't. It starts in the mind. It begins when she stops sharing her inner world, when she gives her thoughts to someone else, when she starts smiling at a screen more than at her partner. By the time she crosses a line, she's already crossed it in her heart 100 times. A Stoic man pays attention to silence. He knows affection doesn't vanish overnight. It withers slowly, through neglect. And if he listens closely, he can hear the moment love becomes obligation. That's the moment to act. Not with anger, but with clarity. Because awareness is protection, and perception is power. 5. She plays innocent because you don't suspect a garden snake. The most dangerous masks are the softest ones. She doesn't seduce with chaos. She disarms with calm. Her tone is gentle, her eyes kind, her words careful. And that's exactly why you never see it coming. Society taught you that danger looks wild, loud, unpredictable, dramatic. But real danger often whispers. It wears an apron, not red lipstick. It hides behind loyalty, not lust. She's mastered the art of subtlety, a smile that lingers, a touch that means nothing. She keeps everything plausible, everything explainable, until it isn't. When caught, she plays the victim, tears, confusion, deflection. You misunderstood, I would never. But she knows exactly what she's doing. This isn't evil. It's emotional strategy born from fear. The fear of losing control. The fear of being seen as the villain in her own story. A Stoic man doesn't react to tears or tone. He listens beneath them. He watches energy, not expression. Because truth doesn't hide behind emotion. It reveals itself in inconsistency. And the man who sees clearly never needs to accuse. He simply understands and steps away in silence. 6. Her silence becomes her weapon. Silence can heal, or it can destroy. In the wrong hands, it becomes control disguised as calm. When a woman shuts down emotionally, her quiet isn't peace, it's distance. It's the invisible wall between connection and resentment. She stops sharing the small things, her thoughts, her worries, her laughter. And in that silence, love slowly starves. You feel it before you see it. Her responses get shorter, her eyes lose warmth, her presence feels like absence. But somewhere else, her words are flowing freely. A co-worker, a friend, a stranger online. The same stories she once told you now belong to someone else. Silence becomes her weapon, not out of hatred but out of avoidance, because silence protects her from confrontation, yet kills intimacy in the process. The Stoics taught that you can't control another's with. A wise man doesn't chase words that aren't being offered. He observes, he listens. And when silence becomes a signal, he accepts the truth without drama. Because to the grounded man, absence speaks louder than apology. 7. She's crushed by societal pressure. She's not just living for herself, she's performing for the world. Every smile, every post, every appearance must say, I'm happy, I'm fulfilled, I'm enough. But behind that performance, she's exhausted, because perfection is a mask that never comes off. She's been told she can have it all, a career, a family, eternal youth. And when she can't, she blames herself for being human. The weight is invisible but heavy, the pressure to look perfect, to love perfectly, to never crack, never falter, never fail. And in chasing that impossible image, she loses something essential: authenticity. Her desires shrink, her voice fades. She becomes what everyone expects and forgets who she is. When that identity collapses, chaos often follows. She doesn't want another man. She wants escape from the image she's trapped inside. The Stoics warned of this illusion, that living by others' approval is living in chains. True freedom isn't rebellion, it's alignment, the courage to be real, not flawless. So while the world praises her mask, she quietly suffocates beneath it. And the man who sees with wisdom understands. Performance is never peace. 8. She's drawn to chaos because it feels like freedom. When life becomes predictable, chaos starts to look like liberation. It's not another man she craves. It's the rush of uncertainty, the thrill of being out of control for once. Her days have become mechanical, every hour planned, every emotion managed. So when something, or someone, stirs unpredictability in her, it feels like oxygen. That's the paradox. She isn't chasing destruction, she's chasing sensation. The forbidden text, the late-night message, the unspoken tension. It's not about love, it's about feeling alive again. But chaos is a poor substitute for purpose. It promises freedom but breeds regret. What begins as escape soon becomes another cage, built from guilt and confusion. The Stoics understood this pattern well. They taught that when the mind lacks direction, it mistakes disruption for liberation. True freedom isn't doing whatever feels good, it's mastering what pulls you. So while she runs toward chaos, the Stoic man stands still, grounded, patient, and aware that not every storm deserves to be entered. Because sometimes, the highest form of strength is simply not chasing what's already burning. Most men go through life reacting, chasing affection, fearing loss, fighting shadows they don't understand. But the Stoic man studies patterns. He doesn't see betrayal as evil. He sees it as a symptom of hunger, confusion, and emotional decay. He knows that peace can't be found in control or in another person's loyalty. It can only be built within. Because the moment your calm depends on someone else, you've already surrendered it. You can't fix someone who's starving for their own reflection. You can only protect your clarity. Observe without judgment, feel without attachment, love without losing yourself. When you live by these principles, nothing truly shakes you. You don't chase what's fading. You don't beg for what's gone. You simply see and stay grounded in truth. That's what Stoic Reflections is about. Not bitterness, not blame, but awareness. The kind that transforms pain into understanding and chaos into wisdom. So if this truth spoke to you, don't just hear it, embody it. Because the calmest man in the room always holds the real power.